All right, what's up everyone? We're gonna be going over class 30 today. We're gonna start off with just a little bit of sort of overview and review of some of the things that we've covered in recent classes, defenses from the front that go to wrist locks and arm locks, right? Standing submissions. So we'll get into that and really just one new technique today, but we're gonna kind of recap some of the techniques we did in recent classes, okay? Then we're getting into technical mount, right? We saw some escapes to the technical mount last class. It's mount when somebody has one knee up, like they're maybe about to go to arm bar or take your back. And that's actually the context we're gonna look at it in today, in addition to adding in a couple of lapel strangles, okay? So let's go ahead and get started here. Think about defenses from the front as like a broad category, like I'm clinching you or I'm not, right? Then if I'm not, I may be pushing you or grabbing you, right? So like we would define a clinch as, you know, something like this. And we do defenses to those, right? But there's also things like this, or this, or this, right? And that's just, in the real world, that's very common, okay? So we're gonna just kind of overview some pushes and grabs, right? And then also this sort of point, right? Somebody, you know, pushes you and says, does something like that, you know, they have to pay. So let's review. Again, some of this will be new. We'll start off with the new information and then we'll review and add some kind of different entries from some of the other techniques we worked on, okay? So defenses from the front. The new technique is if somebody like grabs right here, right? Or pushes right here rather, and this can also be on the side of the chest, okay? We saw recently a wrist lock, right? So where I cover, okay? And then he retracts, right? Boom. And I can, with base and distribution of weight, just, you know, follow, pursue. And we talked about just kind of finding it, and then people retract their arm, okay? And the technique we're gonna do here, hold your arm straight, is gonna involve putting both hands under the elbow, okay? Now if his hand's on my chest like this, right? And I put both hands under the elbow and I can make his hand continue to go backwards. That's gonna be our technique, right? So this is like a straight arm lock, but it's actually, you're gonna feel it in the wrist, okay? So I want you guys to think about that for a second. A lot of times everybody says arm bar, elbow, or arm lock, elbow. Actually, a lot of arm bars on the ground, standing can get this bicep tie-in here, this brachial tie-in, right? And then in this instance, we're seeing it's like, oh, it's on the wrist, right? So your hand's in my chest, right? I want to, you know, trap this here, and I'm here, okay? This allows me to be able to defend here if I need to, but, right? I want to find base, right? If I step back, I can off balance you, right? And see how I go 2-on-1 under that elbow, and then see how I'm like pulling that in, yeah, right? So we saw, you know, where we can step in and raise the elbow into alignment there for the wrist lock. This is stepping back, yes, okay? So just practice this for a second. As soon as I touch my chest real quick, all right, go again, okay, yes, okay, remember you guys start from here, right? We don't really have our hands up yet, or you can start from here, you do have your hands up. It's both, we want to drill from both, and we talk about that often. Good, okay, so you kind of, when you go to grab, you don't have to step, but lean forward, put your weight in your balls of your feet. Good, good. See, I feel that. All right, keep leaning. See, nice. Good. All right, now, once you trap it there and you have this, move this a little lower, double it up, boom. Ah, okay, step back into base. Now, I want you to raise my elbow up as you kind of also do two things here. You're raising the elbow up, you have that part. You have weight, put weight forward. And then it's almost gonna be as if you're bowing a little bit as you pull my elbow up. Yes, right? So we talked about that on the wrist lock, right? When you retract here, right? I can't just lean forward, right? I can't just pull in. I need to do both of those. And then one thing that accentuates and unites those is that forward weight distribution, okay? So here, boom, good, forward weight, nice. Which one went a little lower here? That's much better. Raise and forward. Yes, that's it, okay? So again, you know, it's kind of a wrist lock, but it's also, you know, a straight arm lock, right? Like we would see a straight arm lock called udigatami sometimes in judo. We've seen this wakigatami under the arm. This is called teigatami. It would be a short term of that, right? It's over my shoulder arm bar, right? So this one's it's a little different, okay? It's straight arm lock, but we're raising it up, and we've got that elbow trapped, which we're actually feeling that there in that forearm, okay? So do this, confirm everything on the grip, and then when I go to retract, pursue me in, right? Yes, good. Nice, good, good again. Step in, good, and then I'll pull back. Nice. See, if I tap 3 times, you know it was good, right? It's like a thing. Like the other day, I think you or Howie won tap 3 times. It was like a really good submission, right? And that's like you like I don't know, it's just like your reaction. It's like, okay, yeah, that. Like versus like, oh, hey, you got it. Like there, it's like, oh yeah, you got it. Ooh, comes on quick. That's very good. It means you're doing those components, the forward, the doubling up, getting everything in alignment. Now, the other one that we saw in terms of the wrist lock was from here, okay? Now look, you can go here to break the integrity of that grip. Another thing we can do, right, gonna be solid here, right, is we can hit as I go to the elbow, like that, right? And then from there, right, I'm looking to come in at the same time. This is more, you know, I could still be kind of grabbing here and you could still get that last wrist lock, right? But this is what a lot of people call the bully grip, right? So when you grab and go to come up, what I want to do is I want to hit here, and then I'm coming in like that, okay? So practice that hitting the side of the wrist. Let's swap sides here so you can get your good side. A little closer to here with the palm heel. Now step in. Good, forward weight, and then double up on that elbow. Yes, raise, good. You just kind of remember that alignment defined with the elbow. Raise it in, but your elbows are tight. Oh, nice. See, there you go. Okay, so now we'll take a look at a couple of the other arm locks from standing we've been working on, okay? So nice overview of the wrist locks from a couple classes ago. We've got that straight arm wrist lock / arm lock. And then the next 2 we can do from here, okay? So we talked about, like, you know, you don't want somebody to like grab here and be able to squeeze, or if you weren't thinking about it this way previously, like imagine somebody grabbed like this, like not like, oh, they're reaching deep around with that sort of shape. Like they grabbed more like around the larynx and voice box to grab and pull or rip to the side. And it's a thing. That's how I think about doing it, you know. But it's not always just like, oh, I'm gonna strangle you. It can be that, right? We look at this against the wall and in several places. But when somebody grabs me here, I want to form a connection, right? So go ahead and grab the neck here, right? And that's like either way, like if he goes to grab here, like I take away his ability to squeeze by pulling it in more, right? So when he grabs, get that forward weight distribution. This arm is up, right? And what that does for me is it makes it to where I can step back into base and pull him forward for the underarm arm lock, okay? Now also if he's here, this one is another one we looked at, right? So here, I base and I come under there, right? And it's this over the shoulder arm lock, right? I can get the submission by standing up. Can you hop around either way, Micah?
No, I can't.
Okay, and I can go under here and complete the throw, right? It's kind of kotegaeshi, or you could also, if we spin under like that, Aikido, a lot of times they call that shianagi. Okay, so here, I go with this grip. Okay. Now, again, that neck grab, it works. Grab here again. Here, that's for going the shoulder. I grab this way for coming over to go under my arm, okay? So once I'm here, what I want to do is step back into base, right? And then over. Now, and this way. Where do you put your weight? You want to add it to the shoulder of his as I raise up, right? So I'm dropping weight down on this quadrant as I'm raising his pinky to the ceiling, okay? And it's just kind of that opposing forces in action, right? So that's one option on the Wakigatami, the underarm arm lock. Another one is new entry. We haven't done this in a previous class, but somebody is pointing their finger like they're doing this sort of stuff, right? Again, we just kind of think about a lot of this stuff goes together really well, but if somebody does something like a push and then does something like that, what we're gonna do, go to the finger point. And just like when you're learning it, we're gonna grab, we're gonna pull it into our chest, don't jam their finger or jam their finger, step back, right? And then over. This, you know, that connection and then the stepping back is very important for the stress test, right? So if I'm here and I've got a real rigid arm right now, okay, go ahead and grab, right? Just like that. Now pull it into your center. Boom, right? Lean forward as you pull it in. See, now I'm like, okay. Well, and I might pull back and then you could be going into some of the other techniques. But what I want you to do is step back into base. Boom, nice. Now, step in front and go roll that elbow over. Yes, that's good. And drop a little more weight back. There you go, nice. Okay, so again, yes. Good base. Yeah, see, I can't really pull out and then step in front. Nice, good. Okay. The other one, this is one we did in a previous class, is I'm going to be pushing you backwards and go for that one. Yes. Okay. Very good. Okay, so from that finger point, just like, hey, we're figuring it out. But it's really wanting to do that against a rigid arm, right? And, you know, really getting connection and control so they can't pull back, right? And that stepping back into base will help. So that's more me pulling you off balance. And then the idea of you pushing me, right? Then there's another level here where I pull this in, right? And I start pulling you back, right? So I'm pushing you back, and you're doing the arm lock to me, or you're pulling me back, and you're doing the arm lock to me. So practice that pull back, right? So I'm here, yes, yes, see? I didn't have base, you did. So that's kind of the option there. So we saw that underarm arm lock from the throat grab, saw it from the finger point and the push. Let's take a look at it also now from one last perspective, and that's going to be breaking that sort of grip right here. Okay, so grab. When this happens, what I want to do is I want to grab, and I had this elbow up when I grab to protect. Okay, now I'm going to twist and break. So I turn your palm here, and then I pull it off. Okay, then I can step back and go into my lock. Okay, so you grab here, boom. All right, really hard grip here. All right, here. All right, you try it with me. Okay, grab 2-on-1, turn it, other way. Yes, and kind of start with that elbow up, okay? You know what I'm saying? So when you grab, here. Good. Turn it, now pop it off. There you go. Now step back in the base, step in front. Yes. Okay, so it's a grip break. Grab here, 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 here. Break it. Step back into the base. Good. Nice. That might be you dragging me back like we were doing earlier, because you've already formed that connection. Okay? So, nice work there. All right, so that's just a nice little overview of the different standing submissions, several of them that we teach, right? Particularly from the front, and defenses from the front against the finger point. Grabbing the neck or throat, the lapel grab, right? Pushing the center of the chest, pushing the shoulder. Those are common real life, real world scenarios, and we need defenses to those things. A lot of times people, gloss over or don't think about this stuff, but that's kind of the whole purpose of this particular program, right? It's not the emphasis in every class we have or do, but it is of this one. Okay, so technical mount, we're looking at some attacks, 3 sort of main ideas here. 1, we get the gift wrap from technical mount after we transition there, and we strike, okay? So we can hit the body or the head. The body's really open, right? Additionally, we can transition to the back, or we can finish with an arm lock. Yes, there are other things. That's the beginner scope, okay? And then we'll, take a look at how to transition, right? Like if we're in a middle mount, how are we gonna get to gift wrap? Okay, so one, we want to look at our mount retentions, okay? Mount retentions such as, he's gonna try like hip escapes, okay? So if he's framing and pushing here, what I wanna do is, I never wanna sit on his hips, I wanna come forward a little bit. That way if he pushes big, I can just round my spine and sort of fold over. That's the distribution of weight. If you're able to achieve that, go ahead. Right? Then I can just turn and deflect, right? And then look how I have his arm trapped here. I swap that with my chest and I can gift wrap. Okay? So right there, this is a counter to the frames. So what we'll do here, turn this one out. Just one frame at a time, right? And we can do both frames as well. But let's just do one at a time, and then I'll deflect on that same side, okay? Frame, deflect, frame, deflect, frame, deflect. And on one of these deflections, right? Frame here, other one, deflect, you're gonna put your chest down on it. Then I can come through and grab. Frame, the other side, deflect, and see I'm not just, one more time, I'm not just using my forearm, I'm also slightly turning my torso. I come down and I'm here, okay? Now, once you have the gift wrap, it's his arm around his throat here, I wanna pull him up on his side and slide my knee up, okay? Now, this is gift wrap position, right? It's technical mount with an arm wrapped, right? So let's look at our strikes from here, okay? We're gonna take a look at elbows, slaps, or palm heel strikes, and hammer fists, okay? So here's the thing. A lot of times when you're doing this, somebody will get this hand thinking, oh, I'm gonna protect my face or whatever, and I can start slapping, but the real technique is this sort of downward elbow here, 12 to 6, right to the body, okay? So I can slap here to get his hand up and then boom, right there on those ribs, okay? Now, in addition to that, this side portion of his head, we've got a downward elbow there, right? So if he starts coming down to try and stop this, I turn it and I can go down here, right? So just kind of, Then slaps kind of open them up. Slaps low risk of injury, like you're probably not gonna hurt your hand, right? Then I can do like palm heel strikes, right? So I can actually hit with my palm heel. We did that on the bags a couple classes back, right? Palm heel, also hammer fist. Here's another thing, like there's no rule that said I can't hit you in the back of the head, okay? So here I hammer fist, elbow, right? Slaps, you're covering up, I go to the bottom. So that is the sort of striking series from this gift wrap position, okay? So what we want to do, turn this way, is when he frames, I deflect, come down with my chest, get the gift wrap. Now I'm in kind of a lower mount, chest down. I'm gonna pull him up on his side and come up to a higher mount, technical mount, okay? We got this control here. Now I'm gonna start slapping to open him up. Body, head, all right? Palm heel, hammer fist, okay? And when you start hitting and they can't defend here, they'll start turning to give you the back, okay? If they don't do that, maybe you're looking at this from in the gym perspective, you're rolling, or maybe even the sport, and you wanna use this, you can't do strikes, or you know, it's not like, because we don't do the strikes in class, right? Unless you're training for a combat jiu-jitsu event or MMA. So if that's the case, you will also have an arm bar. So if somebody doesn't turn here, we'll have an arm bar, okay? So you get on me and look at the strikes real quick. Okay, so do this, deflect like 3 frames, and that third time, go to the gift wrap, okay? Deflect, good, deflect, nice. A little heavy on my hips here. I feel like if I bridged, it would be bad for you, okay? And that's just a habit, we have to watch for it, okay? So we'll go again, starting at 1, 2, 3, good. Now from there, pull this out and put just your chest down. Nice, now you have that, good. Now, pull me on my side, come up to gift wrap. Boom, nice, turn this way. Okay, so again, technical mount's a little higher mount. So from here, and slide that down a little bit, because you want this open to hit. So let's see that elbow. Oh, terrible, man. That's like my liver side too. You got palm heel strikes, right? And just remember, you go back to that body and then I'm like, oh man, oh, right? And then I can't do anything, okay? So you got slaps through the palm heels, right? Boom, right there to the temple, hammer fist. I like the hammer fist to the back of the head. Yeah, I like that little X pattern you did there. So you go temple, back of the head, right? And then too, you just got, if my hand's down here or whatever, you just come with the downward elbow to the head too. Boom, yes, right? Very good. So that's the striking, right? Now here's the thing, keep this. When you start doing this to people, the most likely response is for them to turn away. So if I turn away here, and you have your mount, good, okay? But what I want you to do is, I feel your weight down on me, like we're talking about it being on the hips, raise it up a little bit, because I want you to let me turtle. Here, set your hooks, flatten me, boom, nice. Okay, now from here, take the other arm out and go under the neck. Good, get your rear naked. Nice, and very good control. See how my spine is kind of curving up? Make your spine round. And that'll push me down. So when you go to get the arm in, when you go to finish, do that. Nice, okay? It'll keep me from turtling up. Like a really strong person will drive up off their hands to try and turtle. And that rounding your spine prevents that, okay? So the main idea there is we deflect, 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 gift wrap, strike, or transition just to the rear mount. Lay down, please. Now, how do we transition to rear mount if there's no striking involved? I misalign your spine. It's pretty simple. okay? But most people want to do like, oh, I'm going to sit you up and take the back and do hooks like this, right? And that's the thing, right? Fine. It's a good thing. But that's not what you do here at the gift wrap, right? The gift wrap, the main sort of transition and exit spot to the back is you being flat, okay, on your belly, rear mount. So I want to misalign your spine like this, right? And see how I'm here, right? Now, I again, am not going to sit on you. I want to give you the illusion that you can turtle. So I raise up a little bit, right? I'm probably giving you your hand back, right? So as you go to turtle, look how I slid a hand in and then I flatten you, okay? Nice. Now I'll open you with the first hand and pummel with the second. You feel I folded forward. And so that pulling to misalign their spine is another way to get to that rear mount if there's no strikes. You might just like that one more. I like that a lot. I like that while I'm hitting, right? So you can combine the two ideas. Now, here, please. When you frame, deflect, go again, deflect, go again, deflect. Here, all right? I'm looking for this gift wrap. Once I pull you up to technical mount, here, watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hook in. You can grab your lapel for a second if you want, right? And then here, okay? Now, you'll notice when I wanna do an arm bar, my knee comes behind his head, and I wanna turn his face down and away if possible. This is just so he can't move, okay? Now, what we're gonna do is you're gonna wedge your toe up in the back. I have a live toe here. And I'm gonna put a lot of weight on my hand so I can step over here. And then I'm bringing everything in to the finish. Pull the slack out of the arm. Have your grip all the way at the thumb. And I'm dragging my heels and my knees in like this, right? If you don't have to be on the floor, it doesn't have to be like that, right? Just drag heels in. When I drag heels in, I'm like applying that hip weight onto the arm bar as I do it. Okay, so one more time, head facing that way, please. Thank you. Frame, deflect, smash here. Pull him up on his side, right? We got the rear mount option, but with this, we're going here, okay? You see that live toe, and I want a lot of weight on this hand, okay? Because if I lean too much, I can give him an escape. Okay, so here, I just want to step over. Ooh. Now, go to the thumb with this free hand. Here, slack out of the arm, pulling everything in for our arm lock. Okay, so that is a nice little overview of the attacks. I mean, we have seen the mounted arm bar in several classes, right? And it'll come up again a little bit more. We'll see armbar from guard in a future class. And it's, you know, armbar, see, standing. It's a fundamental, okay? So that is just an overview of things we can do with the gift wrap, okay? Now we'll take a look at lapel chokes, right? And then back to that armbar, like these lapel chokes, if they're not working out for me, like if I can't take your back, if they're not working out for me, I go for the armbar, okay? So let's look at these chokes. You're on your side, you know, and we're not gift wrapping here, okay? We have a single lapel grip, right? Now, turn a little bit. Look how when I have this, my elbow is flared out here. It's not connected to his shoulder per se. I need to tighten that connection, okay? So I grab here and I tighten it down. I connect it to the top of his shoulder, okay? Now, that is that connecting the elbow is an underemphasized detail when a lot of people show this choke, okay? The other thing is when I grab, I have a grip with my radial side, right? Like I'm gripping with my thumb and my pointer finger.
But when I go to finish this, I'm gonna transfer the grip by flexioning there to the owner side. Okay, so that's a component here as well. Now another component, and let's just look at, you have all this slack back here. I'm gonna get this grip. Okay, good, I did everything. Still have slack. Is that, look how much slack you have. So I'm gonna grab the other lapel. And I'm gonna punch it straight to the floor here. As I do that, I'm gonna get that ulnar extension. I'm gonna connect the elbow and I'm gonna start raising up. And that's all it took, right? I didn't do a lot of anything. I did a little of a couple of different things, right? Here, take the slack out. Flexion, connect, raise, all at once, right here. And look how much further I have left to go on that leverage, okay? Now, that choke is called okuri irijime in Japanese. That means sliding lapel choke, okay? So it's one of the strangles, right? Another one we can do, right? Maybe there's no lapel here, you couldn't grip it, they had their hand on it, right? I can come behind, circling here, right? I still want to do that same thing with the ulnar extension, is I chop and lift, and that's my single wing choke, kata hajime, right? You see jime on the end of a lot of the chokes, and that means choke or lock or strangle, okay? So here, I'm pulling out for okuri, or I'm circling behind for kata. Kata means shoulder, right? Or wing. So single wing choke, single wing lock. You see it translated both ways. I've even seen it single wing strangle. So kata hajime is when we go behind. Okuri irijime is where we have both. And we're using that same thing with this hand. We're going from the radial grip to the ulnar, right? So that's here, right? There's a really subtle thing about it, and that shoulder connected with your elbow, right? That's another key thing. Now, so here's the thing too. Like, let's say you don't have the grip. It's not what you want. There, we go back to our arm bar. Okay, so Micah, you get me in technical mount. Okay, now go ahead and I use this top arm to feed the grip. So open it, yes, good. And see, I feel like, man, you got a good radial grip here, and that's fine right now. Take the slack out, connect the shoulder. Nice. Now, ulnar as you posture up and bring your hips forward. Like that. Good. Again, take the slack by punching down. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Synchronize when you start coming up, but you really had that push down thing on that bottom lapel. That was the best part about that. Do it one more time.
Synchronize coming up with what?
So like once you push down,
oh, okay.
yeah, just keep your arm down, and you went up really far, and you probably had to go up a little less than that. This is a really good choke, but it wasn't good because of how far you went up, if that makes sense. If you can push down that much and slowly go up, and I'll tap a little sooner. Okay, so push down, connect the shoulder. Yeah, see? Good. Okay. Now, go again. Let's say here you've got this, right? And I'm hand fighting you or whatever. Okay, like with this one, go behind my head. Under my arm though. Right there. Good. What I will frequently do on this is draw a circle to like get their arm up, right? Because that's part of it. So go back here. So look how I'm kind of down. Make my arm raise up. Good. Okay. Now, go for the grip. I'm not gonna give it to you. Let's say we've been fighting for 20 seconds. Go for the armbar. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, how about that? Good. Nice. That's pretty good. So, got a lot of great options there. Okay, guys. Nice little overview of some attacks from the technical mount. And as always, in these classes, a good look at some great self-defense techniques at the beginning. Those wrist locks and those standing arm locks, those are techniques that are timeless. They're classics. They're a part of the history of the art, and they are a part of the self-defense side of what we do, right? When people here that compete in the sport and go and win major tournaments, Pan American Games, whatever, and that is still coexist with this other idea of the self-defense. And that'd be decided, the challenge of everybody is to try and harmonize that, right? Like, why not both? I'd rather do the self-defense and know about it and be able to pass it on to my students than, you know, be at a concert with my wife someday and not be able to, you know, defend myself against certain parts of the altercation. Some of these things that are, I just don't, yeah, and like obviously I'm a judo and jiu-jitsu black belt. I've fought in MMA and kickboxing. I'm probably gonna be fine, right? But what about that person that's like, just starting off, right? They're just getting going. They've just been training 6 months, right? It's more about them. I've had an entire half my life to cultivate this stuff. So just challenge everybody to keep your self-defense in the forefront of your mind, even if you do the sport. I like having the further I go, a more minimalist mindset, meaning that it's more to me about the quality than the number of techniques, okay? And I will say, doing this for as long as I have, almost 2 decades, I had to learn all the techniques to arrive at that conclusion. Like I remember having a list of like my half guard sweeps with all of the positional variations, half guard, knee shield, lockdown, etc. And it was like 122 techniques. You know, because it's like 8 or 10, there's like back takes and stuff too, maybe, you know, but it was like everything I knew all written out, and I could still probably show you 100 of those techniques, right? And once we start getting about 60 to 70, I'd have to start getting those notes up, right? But, you know, sorting through all that, it was like mining for gold, right? A lot of times just had like silt and sediment and gravel and rocks, but then there's been several times that I pulled up the pan and there was like a nice little gold nugget in there, right? All right, yeah, okay, good, it was worth it. And all of that time was worth it just for that one discovery. So, you know, keep looking, keep discovering, guys. Thanks for class.